Today on CityCast Denver. Back in July, Mayor Michael Hancock approved a new temporary measure to get some much-needed support to people experiencing homelessness during the pandemic.
And I emphasize temporary, safe outdoor spaces in more managed, safer, and sanitary conditions where people can be connected to critical services.
Today on the show, we're going inside to hear from someone who's been living at one of these safe outdoor spaces and whether or not we should make these places permanent.
It's a mental process of preparing yourself to be a part, and I'll just speak frankly, of a community that's been very hostile towards you.
Today is Friday, April 30th, 2021. I'm Bree Davies, and this is CityCast Denver. Let's take a look at the news. Denver heats up today with a high of 81 and lots of sunshine. Mayor Hancock wants to put a $400 million bond measure for COVID recovery on the November ballot. He says the influx of spending would help reinvigorate the city post-pandemic and create 40,000 jobs. The multi-million-dollar proposal will have to go through City Council first, who will decide if the taxpayers will vote on the bond at the end of the year. If you're one of those people who loves being scared, which I am not, the 13th floor has a deal for you. The haunted house creaks the door open this Saturday and Sunday for their Halfway to Halloween special. For one weekend only, this Scream Factory will give you a taste of fall terror in the middle of spring. Last month, we told you about our partnership with the Denver Voice, a paper written by people experiencing homelessness. Our idea was to bring the voices of the vendors to the podcast and have them talk about issues that matter to them. And the interview our producer Paul Caroli did with the Voice vendor this month turned into something else entirely. Because the vendor in question, David Gordon, just so happens to be living in the middle of one of the most important new efforts to address homelessness, safe outdoor spaces.
How has the last couple of weeks been for you? I know we had a big snowstorm and the vaccines are coming to everybody soon. Just what's new with you?
Well, nothing much. It's just pretty much the same old, but I guess I'm really curious about what normal is when we go back to normal. I don't know what that is anymore.
So we're going to spend the day with David Gordon, and then on Monday, we'll be back to talk with two people working on the Safe Outdoor Space program. At the beginning of the year, David Gordon was bouncing between Aurora and a campsite at 16th and Lafayette.
I was there originally, and then other people just started showing, and that's something you can't control it. You know, it was just myself and a few other people. And then all of a sudden, another tent popped up. And as they did sweeps elsewhere, people just started popping up there. There were times I would have a little anxiety, wondering if my stuff was safe. And I'm trying to sell papers. I can't sell papers that way. My anxiety's sky high. I've got too much on my mind. And that shows when you're trying to sell papers. It really does show. So those sweeps are, there's collateral damage all over,
But one of those people that stayed with him was someone he kind of liked. They weren't exactly dating per se, but they were close.
It wasn't a relationship. We hadn't even really discussed that. We talked more about moving forward. We talked more about the barriers of homelessness. We talked more about our personal lives. We didn't speak of relationships and so it would have been more of it would have been partners. We'd been close, but it was just strictly, needing each other to move forward. You need somebody sometimes. Sometimes you just can't do it alone. You need someone with you, and that's what she was there. She was going to be there with me. She went through some physical rehab because she got hit by a truck. So she was sleeping in an alley, and the garage door opened, and a lady ran her over. She still feels a lot of that pain. She's on the street. She's tough. She's a tough girl. And each person has a story, and most people just don't realize what that story is, and we're people that we want to be a part of the community, but sometimes the community has set up so many barriers that it makes it difficult for us to fit in.
They kept hearing about this thing called a safe outdoor space, and it sounded like the community was making space for them to fit in.
So a safe outdoor space is an outdoor individualized sheltering model. It provides 24-hour staffing and services. There's a fence that surrounds the site, a single point of entry that has a key code entry that's only accessible to staff. Residents can come and go as they choose with autonomy. And there's single occupancy, or we allow couples, so it's 1 or 2 people.
That was Cole Chandler, one of the operators of the Safe Outdoor Space program. So one day, David's friend that he often shared a tent with found out she got one of those coveted spots at the Pearl Street location in Uptown.
She had a case manager. Now, getting a case manager is very important in order to get all the necessary help that's out there. A lot of people don't trust. The trust levels are really bad, and therefore they won't let a case manager handle it. So yeah, she had a case manager, and her case manager was able to submit her name, and her name was there at the top of the list, so she got in. She had asked me if I would, go with her, and I thought about it, and I said, wow, you're at the front of the list, and so I agreed, and we signed up together. Just lucky, I guess.
So David went to the outdoor space to check it out.
I walked down Colfax, and I took a right. And as I'm walking down Colfax, I had a few people, you good, brother, you good? Trying to sell me some drugs. I had, and it's like, oh, my God, what did I get myself into? But then as I got closer to the tents, there's a church, and then there's a parking lot, and that's where the tents are. You walk up, and then you have to ring a doorbell. And it had a good, safe feeling. And the tents were, they look nice. They have a big area where you have coffee and where there's food and stuff like that. And it was okay. You could tell it was temporary, but it felt permanent enough, and it's interesting. It had a good feeling. The people that first brought me in, that did my intake, were really, really friendly people, open. The people there, they don't judge you on where you are. They treat you like equal, and that's what made it so appealing. It's the treatment that I got there. I felt almost at home. I did feel at home. I felt welcomed.
But moving is still a big change, and it turns out David's friend wasn't quite ready to leave the street.
No, she wanted to stay where she was at. She didn't want to pack up, I don't think. I think that was a lot of it. She didn't want to pack up. She didn't quite know how it was going to work. She didn't know if I don't know. Maybe she got second thoughts of having to share a tent with me. But we slept in the same tent before out there, but it's different, It's about survival out there. In there, it's about, doing things the right way, doing things the better way. And I think that maybe, whatever the reason may be, whatever the fear came from, and I would assume there was a lot of fear. She has to deal with it in her time. And I think that's why I keep saying this. That's why the mayors in Denver need to go all in on this, because it's a process, It's not something that, okay, here you go. You're done. Okay. No, it's a process. It's a mental process of preparing yourself to be a part, and I'll just speak frankly, of a community that's been very hostile towards you.
They still see each other, they hang out and talk about politics and stuff. And as far as how it's been going for David at the Safe Outdoor Space?
Yeah, it's going well. There were so many rumors about how it worked, and everyone thought you had to be in before 10 p.m. and it's nothing like that. It's cold. It's very cold. They have donations of food. They have donations of clothing. They have services from the Denver Public Library on Wednesdays to other organizations that come in throughout the week. We had dental cleaning the other day. I was able to get a laptop, so now I can do other things. I can actually do resumes. I have it for 90 days. The library was able to do that.
But today is actually David's last day at the Safe Outdoor Space. He's not too worried, though.
And at that point, then I'm going to do what I can to move forward. We'll see how much money I have saved up, and landscaping will be kicking in, and I'll be ready. And I'll thank them for their space, and for their space and their time, and I'll leave so someone else can have that opportunity to take advantage of that. I can't hold it to myself. It's a good thing for people.
And similar to David, the path ahead for the two safe outdoor spaces is still unknown. There are plans to move one of them to the Park Hill neighborhood in June, and we'll have that conversation on Monday with two people behind the project. That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. Our producers this week were Paul Caroli and Alexander McMahon. Peyton Garcia writes our morning newsletter. Our music is by Los Mocochetes, with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. If you haven't already, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, follow us wherever you get your social media, and tell a friend about us next time you see them. You can sign up for our daily newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. Bye-bye! Willibot! I don't know why I'm doing that. Okay, here it goes.